Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Friday, August 2nd, and we will be getting a Labor Department report later this morning. Should be a lot of fun. And, as I said earlier in the week, it's likely that job creation has slowed down a little bit. That's okay. We just don't want to see job losses, and that never makes anyone happy. But I think that it should be kind of I don't know, like I keep saying that we expect it to be one way and then it isn't. But, the labor market has been a lot stronger than many people had expected for a lot longer. So we'll let you know if anything wacko happens, but I don't expect it. Okay, so with that said, it is Friday, and that means it is time for the Friday Focus. And today's Friday Focus is about understanding required minimum distributions, or RMDs. If you have a question about required minimum distributions, we'd love to hear from you, because this is one of those kind of crazy topics that impact so many people, but it's not well understood. So if you've got a question about that, let us know. If you've got a question where you're about to make a big decision about something going on in your life, also let us know. Just go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you'd like to join us on the air by checking that box. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. And you can also subscribe to Jill on Money Live. That's where you have access to quarterly live webinars for the next 12 months, as well as bonus video content. You get to go watch all the other webinars that we've conducted, and it's all for $35 for 12 months. Pretty good deal. We're going to start today with a message from Javier, who is writing about a subject, RMD. Isn't that great? Here's the message. Please do a topic show or interview about required minimum distributions. I know they exist, but what else? How is the RMD determined? Why do they matter? What are the tax consequences of getting an RMD in retirement? And is it all that bad? Okay, so first of all, thank you. Teed that up beautifully. I went to Ed Slott and Company's website, irahelp.com, because I wanted to know a little bit of the background. And, interestingly, that IRAs were created back in 1974. And that was the beginning of the concept of required minimum distributions. And according to this website, they do all the linking, that when we had the law that established IRAs and as part of ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act, it did actually give you information about, hey, you've got to take money out of this account. Now, remember, the point of a required minimum distribution is that the money you have put into a retirement account pre-tax has not yet been taxed. The government wants to actually get a piece of your action, meaning they want to get paid the taxes that they are owed. It's not this crazy, like, oh, it's so unfair that I'm getting my money. Like you avoided taxes. You have to actually pay those taxes before you die. So this is where the basics of the required minimum distribution come into play. So how is this determined? Well, there is an actuarial aspect of this. What do we mean by that? What we mean is that when you are looking at the requirement and the amount, the government says, what is the likelihood you live till a certain period of time, that life expectancy? We are going to force you to take a withdrawal from that account and pay the tax that's due on that income. Again, it hasn't been taxed yet. So if you look at life expectancy, I'll give you an idea of this. Let's just say that you're 72 years old right now. There is a life expectancy, according to the government, of another 27 years. That's a long time. I didn't realize that, Mark. That's a long time. And therefore, so that the government will get the money out that is pulled out of that account a little bit at a time, they say, we are going to force you to take 3.65% of your total pre-tax money out of that account so that we can get a taxable portion in play. So you take $100 out. We're going to just add that $100 to your income at your age 72, And you're going to get taxed at whatever rate you're at. And every year, the percentage of the account balance that has to be withdrawn for your required minimum distribution will go up. So again, let's say, you got a whole bunch of money that has not yet been taxed and you're now, I don't know, let's call it 80 years old or so, 80, 81 years old. The government's going to say you got to take 5% of that account value out. Whatever that amount is will be added to your taxable income, whatever income tax bracket you're at that time, that money gets added to it and you pay the tax that's due. That's it. It's actually not that complicated. The government says, take some of the money out, add it to your income. We're going to tax you. Now, there's a couple of caveats. One is that if you're still working at a company, not with an IRA, but if you're working at a company, you've got your money in a 401k, you've got your money in a 403b. If you're still working, you do not have to take the required minimum distribution. It's only when you retire. So that's another kind of a fun thing, which is I know somebody who essentially stopped working, had moved money out of a retirement account into an IRA rollover. She gets to be 68 years old. She gets another job. She took all of the money in her IRA account that had not yet been taxed, rolled it into her next company's 401k plan. She just retired again at age 74, but she didn't have to take any required minimum distributions because she was still working. Now the clock will start ticking, of course, but it's kind of a cool thing. So I want to make sure I got to this. So how is the RMD determined? It's based on your life expectancy and how much money you have in the account. They matter because it can actually push your income higher when you're forced to take money out, and the tax consequences can vary based on whatever's going on in your life. All right. I hope that helps, Javier.
By the way, how do you avoid an RMD if you want to? Use a Roth.
The other thing is just one other thing about an RMD. There is one other way to avoid it. Mark's right. There is a Roth, but if you're over the age of 70 and a half and you've got a slew of cash that's in an IRA account, you can do a qualified charitable distribution. You can take up to $100,000 in a given year from your pre-tax IRA account, send it directly to a charity, and that can satisfy your required minimum distribution, and you can actually be charitable at the same time. So you won't have to pay tax on that money. You don't get the money, but you don't have to pay tax on it. I kind of like that. All right. Marianne says, where can you invest the money from an RMD if I don't need it right now? I'm looking for liquidity. Oh, this is so interesting because I think a lot of people have this where you're very fortunate, right? You've got a bunch of money. It's in a retirement account. You're forced to take the money out, right? 3.5%, 4%, 5%, 6%. That money comes out. What you can't do is you cannot use that as a contribution into your another retirement account. That's number one. But what you can do is you can just put it in a general investment account. And so if you're looking for liquidity, especially for money you think you'll need in the next couple of years, then just put it in a short-term CD or maybe like a 1 year or 2 year CD. But if you really don't need the money at all and you do want liquidity, you can just add it to a brokerage account. It's not that hard to do. I think that's worth thinking about. Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit. We talked about the basics of the required minimum distribution. Here's a specific question from Fred, who is a retired federal employee. As a retired federal employee for the last several years, I needed to start withdrawing the required minimum distribution from my thrift savings plan. Okay, the question is, does the TSP follow the same rules as a traditional IRA when it comes to withdrawal? In other words, I know the traditional IRA withdrawal has several tables to follow. Does this also apply to the TSP? Poor Fred is like, oh, IRS and the thrift savings plan haven't responded to my question. I'm guessing that it's probably the same, but if they don't give you an answer, you can always do it one way. You can just do a uniform for this year and then kind of wait to see. I might even talk to a CPA about this because I think that is something that they should know, right? That seems like the good one. All right, Mark, are you ready for this one? This is a question, Mark, that we're going to end the program with this question. And here is the thing. It's going to really cause people to lose their minds. All right? Because here's what the subject line is. 39 years old, $8 million, terrified to spend it. Okay. I have a question for you, writes Anonymous. There's so much talk about dreaded required minimum distributions. Maybe we aren't thinking about it correctly. I am financially very secure at age 39. I am terribly frugal, and I'm only getting more so as I get older. I have $8 million in Vanguard. $8 million. Dude's 39. My wife and I have salaries of about $800,000 per year. It's stable, should continue. Kids' 529s are covered. I'll probably work for a very long time, as I have. You ready for this, Mark? No hobbies, interests, etc. Yes, that is a problem. I know. We are in a high tax state. I've always done pre-tax 401ks. They've got $1.5 million in their 401k. Okay. But remember, he's got $8 million total. I hate taxes and being a partner to the government with a 401k. Neither of us has a pension. What a piker that he's like, no, I hate being a partner to the government. This is the best country in the world. You got $8 million, buddy. Come on now. Can I just think of the 401k as a pension? I'm cheap. It would like having a forced way of paying myself each month. You know what I wanted to say? He says, I know my situation is unique. The collective, maybe we, as a collective, we need to reassess how we think about RMDs. I think that okay, let me start by saying I agree that we do need to reassess how we think about it. There are two things to really keep in mind. Number one is that when money is forced out at a time when you don't know what your tax rate's going to be, it's a little bit unnerving. Now, listen, if I had $8 million, I don't think I'd really care about it. But okay, let's say you do care. So there is this idea like, well, if I move to a different state that does no state income tax, I'll minimize some of the tax hit. True. But you're really young. So another fact to consider is that you have low tax brackets right now. Maybe the best thing you can do is take that $1.5 million. You're in the highest tax bracket. You're probably going to stay in the highest tax bracket for the rest of your life. Maybe you should just convert the money and you have the money to pay the tax today. And why not? Why worry about it? So I don't know. That's another way to think about it. I think that when we focus on RMDs, when Mark and I are focusing on them, we want to make sure people understand that this money that is forced out to you at a different time in your life is uncertain. And we don't like uncertainty. So if you can make your tax situation more certain, then perhaps you have an advantage. So that's why we love the conversion to a Roth, paying the taxes today at rates that we know are low. These are low rates for taxes. So maybe the anonymous question is raising a good point in that we do need to be clear about how we think about this. We do need to flip the script a little bit. But anonymous, get a freaking hobby. Mark loves gardening. Has that been a game changer for you, Mark?
Yeah, I will definitely, we're about 4 or 6 weeks. It's all going to be over. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with myself.
You know what you're going to do? You're going to you have to do some fall flowers. Maybe you just go out of the veggies.
I mean, I'm out there every day. It's like my therapy. I just go out there. I talk to my plants. It's very relaxing.
It is very relaxing. I don't know. Anonymous, can you come on the air with us? I would love to talk you through this. Yes, of course, you can think of a required minimum distribution as money that's going to be like paid to you, but you're not going to spend it anyway. Because if you're not spending money now and you're making $800,000 a year, you got some issues. So you're going to just keep piling up money. You guys have focused on taxes so much. You got to remember, my dad used to say, those who worry about taxes will soon have a real worry on their plate when you don't have to pay any taxes. That's not fun either. And you're in a beautiful situation. Try to enjoy what you have. You are not just very financially secure at 39, you're killing it. It seems so petty to focus on, I have to pay so much in taxes. I hate being a partner with Uncle Sam. I know we always joke about this with Ed Slott, but Ed's the guy who loves to say, like, hey, you know what? Tax rates are really low. You can take advantage of that. If you don't want to be a partner to Uncle Sam long term, then stop using your pre-tax 401k and start converting that money right now. Okay, Anonymous. Thank you for, who else is going to weigh in on this? Should we ask the community a question? What should Anonymous do with his $8 million? Good luck. All right. That's it. That's the show. Understanding RMDs. This is great. If you have a question about RMDs, go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Don't forget, you can subscribe to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. We are distributed by Odyssey. Please lift someone up. Even Crazy Anonymous probably needs a little pat on the back. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.